Shopify sent an email to their merchants saying, hey, price increase is happening unless you lock in a 3-year contract. If you're going to increase prices, increase prices. Can you sum up what Faire is for people?
Yeah, Faire is essentially a wholesale channel.
What's a little bit crazy is two things. One is sometimes the minimum order quantity is so low that, just as a regular retail customer, you could get the wholesale discount. So the goal here is to do a CRO of a website.
The CTA here is not clear. There's also no social proof as soon as you land. I think the banner image here, or the hero section, goes down probably 30% more than it needs to.
For the last decade of e-commerce, we've conditioned ourselves as marketers to just immediately offer someone a percentage off or dollars off the gross value of their order. Sure, it helps to capture emails, but it's setting expectations that your brand is a coupon cannon right out of the gate.
This is one of the reasons I love Postscript. We know Postscript as the SMS company, but they've launched CashBack, a new Postscript product that allows customers to opt in to getting cash back towards their next purchase instead of just a discount. It can be redeemed as a gift card or store credit, where most brands will offer an additional 15 to 25% of credit value. Want new customers to convert better and return? Go to postscript.io/limited.
All right, Nik, here we go. We're on episode 8 of season 7, Limited Supply. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Usually we record about a week early. Right now, we're just recording 48 hours before this episode goes live. A couple things that we wanted to chat about. One is we're going to talk about Shopify. A few things have happened in the last couple of weeks about Shopify. Another is something that I found really useful when you start thinking about gross margins and selling into brick and mortar stores. I think there's this website that I didn't realize how useful it was, and it is really useful. So I want to talk to you about it. And finally, something about prepaid credit cards, which we touched on before, I think a different episode, but I think it's really relevant. And so I want to go over that as well. But let's start with Shopify.
Also have the CRO stuff.
And the CRO stuff. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right. Okay, great point. Okay, let's get into the Shopify stuff then.
Okay.
So I'll start. Shopify sent an email to their merchants saying, hey, price increase is happening unless you lock in a 3-year contract. If you lock in a 3-year contract, you get like a decent sized discount where your prices will stay relatively similar to where they're at today. But if you don't, prices go up materially. Did you see that email?
I saw that email, yeah.
Where were they, I don't have a Shopify store. Where were they increasing prices the most? Was it at, was it the monthly fee, or was it like the percentage that they take? Where was the highest price increase right there?
To be honest, I'm not actually 100% sure. Let me pull up the email right now. And,
sure.
I believe it was in the payment processing fee. I think that went up.
Yeah, I thought I think the monthly fee went up like $800 or something, from like $2,000 or $2,300 to $2,800. And then there was a monthly, like the processing fee also went up once you hit a certain amount of revenue. But as I understand it, every like merchant got a slightly different email. I'm not entirely sure this was the case, but I think they wrote like, don't share this email with anybody. And so all of the merchants that shared it, wouldn't want their name used. But I think I think everyone might have gotten a different one. I'm not entirely positive.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But I believe, man, I wish I could find this quickly. I don't know why I can't find it.
What do you think drove them to do this, I guess?
My first thought was Vista Equity Partners. That was my first thought, is your voice saying Vista Equity Partners. Yeah, I'm not 100%. Okay, so I found the email. So, at Shopify, our mission is to build the leading commerce operating system. So basically the 2023 standard rates on a 3-year term, which would keep the same pricing as what was there before, has $2,000 a month for the monthly platform. And the third-party transactions, if not using Shopify payments, is 0.15. That goes up to 0.2. The monthly price goes from $2,000 a month to $2,500 a month. The payment fees are also changed. So today they're 2.15% plus 30 cents for domestic charges. They're going to change to 2.25% plus 30 cents for consumer, and 2.95 plus 30 cents for commercial. And then for Amex, it actually goes down. So right now it's 3.15. It goes to 2.95. So, and then in person with the terminals, it goes down from 2.4 to 2.3. So basically it's the monthly fee goes up $500 and the credit card fees go up 0.1% for consumer.
Unless you, what's it called?
Changes.
Yeah. Unless you signed a 3-year contract, right?
Correct. If you sign a 3-year contract, then you keep the same rates.
Basically. I just lose you. If you sign a 3-year contract, do prices remain the same, or is there still a price increase?
No, if you sign a 3-year contract, prices remain the same. If you don't sign a 3-year contract and you continue to go with Plus, then your processing fee and your monthly fees go up.
Yeah. So I guess there's a few things to mention here. One is this really applies to Plus and not like lower ends, as far as I understand it. I didn't see this email going out for people who are on Shopify Advanced. 2 is, so what did you think of the email? Like, did you think this made a lot of sense for Shopify? Tell me like what your thoughts were.
It was timed right around when they dropped the winter editions, which just came out. Did you see any of those updates?
Yeah, a little bit. Tell me what those updates were though.
So, all right. So the main updates that I thought were interesting, one was combined product listings. So, you just have a bigger parent SKU. Think if you have body wash, you have different sizes and you have different scents. That's all basically under body wash versus the different scent of body wash. Subscriptions are now natively integrated. Single page checkout is the new standard. Shopify checkout is now available to be used in a mobile app, which I thought is interesting. Shop Pay also now works anywhere. So it's live on Everlane's site, which is not a Shopify site. And then you can now sync reviews from your site, using Okendo into your shop, into the shop app. So you can sync reviews. Those were the main updates. But honestly, with this email, I feel like it caught people off guard. Like, I don't think anybody was expecting this. There was no sort of messaging or communication of, hey, we're updating our systems to do X and therefore we need to charge more. Like, there really wasn't any justification for the email. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And I think a lot of people too were like, I remember seeing it on Twitter because people were just like, wait, is this real? This just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I guess I had several thoughts. One was I thought that this might mean they were going to like miss earnings because it came out right around the time that they were releasing earnings. And usually when you announce like layoffs or an increase in prices or something, right around the time that you're announcing earnings, you're going to have a little bit of trouble with your stock. And so like an increase in prices is going to make it go like, sort of buffer the fall. Here, there was a fall anyway. I think Shopify beat earnings, like what the street expected.
Yeah, they did
but the stock is still down 11% over the past 5 days, which is a lot. Like, we're talking about $10 billion off their market cap wiped out. So that was a little bit surprising to me. The other thing that was surprising the second point that was surprising was I was like, why are you doing the same pricing for a 3-year contract? The reason that a Shopify Plus store is going to get off of Shopify Plus if they go bankrupt, basically. Like, why are you trying to lock them in for a 3-year contract? They're not. What are they going to go to? Magento, BigCommerce? You're sort of the only game in town right now. So I'm not sure what the benefit is for a 3-year contract for them. It's not like they get all the money up front. It's not like they're like, hey, we're going to charge you $2,000 a month for the next 3 years. You need to pay us that $100,000 right up front. They're still charging you on a monthly basis. And so that was a little surprising to me too. I didn't understand why they wanted a 3-year contract for basically what is a very solid position that they have. So I didn't understand the rationale of it. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they didn't do this much earlier. When we had Harley on at the podcast, on our pod, like this was probably 2 years ago, one of my questions to him is, why have you not increased pricing? Like, it makes so much, like, you have basically monopoly power at this point. The switch, when like everyone's talking about switching to SendLane, or like, certainly that's a buzz on Twitter. And the switching costs from like Klaviyo to SendLane are like pretty high. You have to spend a lot of time redoing your emails and getting, redoing all of your flows, all that kind of stuff. The switching costs from Shopify to another e-commerce platform are massive. Like, if you're on Shopify Plus, you probably aren't really thinking about, switching. And so if I were a customer or merchant on Shopify Plus right now, I'd be like, let me just sign the agreement. Like, Worst comes to worst, I go bankrupt and I don't have to honor the agreement anyway. Best case scenario, I just save money. Like, I'm paying the same pricing for the next 3 years. It's not like I was going to go from Plus to, something else.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't
No one's
gonna go
planning to
from
leave
Plus
Shopify.
Yeah. Very few people are, especially on a Plus stage, because like that's probably a
Right.
successful business already paying, $25,000 a year in Shopify fees. So I really didn't understand, like if they want to increase prices. I understand why you'd want to do that. You could even say, look, we're going to give it to you one more year at this price. Next year, prices go up. I think this is
Right.
one of those like instances where it's really hard because if you're the CEO of Shopify or the president of Shopify, I think you have two different voices shouting in your ears. One is merchants being like, we need these services. You need to work harder. Everyone do better. And the other is investors and shareholders being like, what are you doing? You have monopoly power. Increase price. Why are the prices the same that they were 5 years ago? The service is better.
Right.
All of these, like, go increase prices. And as somebody who's like has a little bit of both, I understand. Like, I'm sort of shouting out of both sides of my mouth, where I'm like, hey, I want you to offer more services and keep my prices low, but also make the share price go up a lot.
Right.
So I think it's, I think I understand where they're coming from. I'm surprised it took so long. And I don't understand the structure that they came out with. I would have come out with a structure that's like 12 more months of the pricing you have, then increase in prices.
Yeah. Also, what was interesting was I would have thought that because they've been trying to make a bigger push behind the in-store point of sale systems. I would have thought they would have been a lot more competitive with those rates, but they're not.
I go back to the same thing, which is like, what are you going to do? So you have like if you're Allbirds and you're on Shopify and you have your stores and you're on Shopify, you're on Shopify Plus, you're using their POS system too at your stores. Like, don't you want everything integrated? Do you really want to have a different POS system that you have to pump into Shopify? It just seems like they've got so much monopoly power there that they could increase prices. Like, I think that like maybe incentivizing point of sale system. I think if you're a brick and mortar store on Shopify, you're already using their point of sale system.
Yeah. I know a few brands that don't, just for the connections they can get outside to other tools or loyalty systems and whatnot. But, yeah, I think you're right. There's one brand called Mixology Clothing. They don't use Shopify POS. And it was because some connection into like reporting tools and or loyalty programs.
Okay, makes sense. I went to Viore over the last couple of weeks, and I bought something from their store, and I was like, "What POS system is this?" And they're like, "Yep, Shopify POS." And I was like, "These guys are like, this is a $4 billion brand. Last time it raised money, powered by Shopify Online and Shopify POS." I'm just surprised, like that the price increases. Like, what? Look, think about if you're Viore. What are you going to even hesitate 1 second? You're like, yeah, I'm in this. Like, 3 more. It'll probably take me 12 months to migrate to another platform already. So,
Easily.
A 3-year contract doesn't seem like it's that crazy.
No, not
I
at
think
all.
It's also like, the Shopify guys trying to be like good people and being like, look, we're not going to screw you with really hard price increases.
Right. Subscribe and save.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's what they're doing. I think the problem is that like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like if you're going to increase prices. Don't say that people who sign a 3-year contract, which is going to be everybody, to get the same price and get the same price.
Yeah, because it's basically you're just verbally agreeing to stay on Shopify. Yeah. It's not like you're paying up front. So
that's right. Yeah. And like, you signed a contract, but if you can't honor that contract, chances are it's because your business is bankrupt. So no one's going to hold you to it. Okay. Totally. Let's move on to this other company that I found out about. Actually, I found out about it at a dinner with you and a couple other guys maybe a few months ago. It's been on my list of things to talk about, and it's Faire, Faire. And I don't know why I'd heard of Faire, but I didn't really know what they did until the dinner that you and I had. And then like the guys that were there were like, this is what Faire is. And I was like, this is insane. I had no idea that this existed. And can you sum up what Faire is for people?
Yeah, Faire is essentially a wholesale channel. So the same way that, think about if you own a restaurant, you find your distributor and, that's where you buy your vegetables from or your sauces, your plates and whatnot. That is basically what Faire is for other mom and pop shops all around the country and some marketplaces too. So they'll basically go on Faire and look for products to source and, stock up on their shelves. And then they're essentially placing orders from you, the brand, in higher volume units. So, instead of five headbands, you're now selling 500 at a time. Was this the dinner at Don Angie?
Yeah. No, it was the one at Medusa.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're right. So basically it's like a website for you to find boutique stores that will sell your product. And rather than sell it retail, you're selling it wholesale, and hopefully they're buying, you can set the minimum order quantity. And what's a little bit crazy is two things. One is sometimes the minimum order quantity is so low that just as a regular retail customer, you could get the wholesale discount. Like I was looking at these like Fellow, Fellow, they make like these like, they make things for like coffee and tea that are like really nice. Okay. They sell them at Williams-Sonoma.
Oh, yeah.
They're nice selling design. They're selling them half price at Faire, and you have to order $350 worth, which is basically like 2 items anyway at Williams-Sonoma. So if you're going to buy 2 items at Williams-Sonoma, you might as well go to Faire and get 4 items for the price of 2 items. And I was like, this is silly. And I spent too much time like thinking, should I do this? And get the discount. And then I was like, this is not
life
worth
hacks.
Well, it's also not worth the hour of my time to figure that kind of stuff out to do that. But like, what's more interesting to me was that you can find out usually the price that you sell into a retailer is a really closely guarded secret. Like the price that Native sells into Target, nobody knows except P&G. It's not information that like Unilever will know or have access to, and it's not information that we'll really reveal. And the P&G does this thing where they say equal prices across all retailers. When we're selling Native deodorant into Target or Walmart or CVS or Whole Foods or we're not Whole Foods, but everyone else, we will charge the exact same price to everybody. There's no discounts to anybody. Like this is the price, take it or leave it. And so Faire gives you this insane a window into what your competitors are selling at wholesale prices, and also a little bit of like how much are they selling, because I think on Faire you can sort by best sellers or like selling really well. And so I went to there's a deodorant brand called Salt and Stone which sells for $20. On Faire their wholesale price is $10, 50% off. You can buy Graza, like the olive oil. If I'm Brightland, remember Brightland with and Graza had that like Twitter blow up a while ago.
The squeeze bottle beef.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, whatever it was. But if I'm Brightland, I'm like, what is Graza wholesaling into at Whole Foods or to other people? I can find out on Faire.com. And so it's this, something that I always thought was a very closely guarded secret, which is the price you wholesale into at retailers is widely available on Faire. And all you need is basically a Gmail address to sign up for it. And so I just, I signed up as I signed up and said, hey, I have a boutique store. Let me see everyone's prices. And, 5 seconds later, I'm like, okay, Salt and Stone is selling for $10 on Faire. That's crazy. And I think their MOQ is 10, which sometimes people would buy on our site 10 sticks at Native. I'm like, okay, they could have gone on, I bet people are buying Salt and Stone. I bet somebody's bought 10 sticks on Amazon.
Totally.
And they could have gone to Faire and saved half off.
100%. Yeah. This is also too where you get competitive Amazon sellers with your own brand though, is people who buy this stuff at wholesale and then repackage it. They'll take that Salt and Stone. They'll make a 3-pack of it in their living room and sell it on Amazon for, $5 off and pocket $25 in profit.
Oh my God. Yeah. Or just forget it. Just buy it at $10. If it sells at 20 on Amazon, sell it for 15, sell it in for
exactly.
And you'll get banned. I'm sure you'll get banned. They'll say, don't sell to this guy anymore on Faire, but you'll buy 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. I both hate those people and now want to become one of those guys. It's like, when you're driving.
I know what we should do next weekend.
yeah. Create sell stuff on it. But when you're driving sometimes and you got to everyone has to merge into one lane. And there's always that asshole who goes all the way to the end and merges right in the front and doesn't have to wait in line. I'm always like, I hate this guy. And then sometimes I'm like, let me be this guy. He just saved 5 minutes of his life. Right. And that's exactly how I feel about this, which is both that is terrible. I hate those people. And that's happened to brands that I've been affiliated with. And it's so hard to get to get back your Amazon rank, to get back your Amazon buy box from these assholes. But also, look, you're selling for $10 on Faire, and it's like, make it so you sell on $15 on Faire. All of this probably isn't worth it. If there's a
Totally.
50% margin, it probably is. At 33%, it probably isn't. So like, or 25% it isn't. So you got to you should be more conscious of that. I'm surprised that more people don't do that.
Totally. When we bought Long Weekend, we realized they had a pretty decent Faire setup, and like people would just DM photos of the product in store, and we had no idea who these people were.
They would DM because okay, gotcha. Because they were selling a lot of Long Weekend through Faire. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And so, how much revenue were you doing? Like, as a percentage of revenue, were you doing 10% of your sales on Faire?
Probably.
Okay, that's
and
meaningful.
The cool thing with Faire too is like, it's if you can. So like that guy who came to dinner with us, Ben, his agency Brand Caffeine, they do Faire growth as a service, and basically he was saying that, most of the game is like getting in front of these people and then just maintaining and building that relationship. And if you can do that, you can basically build a pretty reliable sales channel, without having a real salesperson.
Yeah, I wish they would tell you, like, I wish we had a sense of like how big are big brands on Faire. Like, are they, is a brand doing $10 million in, sales on Faire? Is there a brand doing $25 million? Are they all $1 million or less? Like, I don't really have an understanding of that. But really interesting how much information you can get. Like, you're right. It sounds like a great way to get sales. It sounds like a great way to leave your flank open and have someone steal your Amazon buy box. And it sounds like a great way for your competitors to realize what you're wholesaling at and then work towards that as well.
Totally.
I did buy something on Faire and I had a terrible, and the thing is, the first time you buy something, they give you a discount code too. So I was like, let me buy something and see what it's like.
What'd you get?
Something so embarrassing. I'm not even going to talk about it. I got it and I was like, oh, this is fucking terrible. I'll talk about it. It's actually like, I wanted to get this like glass little bottle that held matches because it looked adorable. And I have like candles in my house. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put this near the candles. And then the glass bottle ended up being this big instead of like this big. And it looks terrible. Like 2 of them came broken. It was a terrible experience. But
damn.
You get what I was like, I get what I paid for. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I got the 50% off and 2 of them are broken. So I paid full price.
Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, Moiz, a couple weeks ago, I saw this company ProMix launched a protein-packed Rice Krispie treat. I don't know if you've heard of them, but the coolest part was after I purchased, I immediately got an email from Postscript CashBack, and it gave me $15 of cash that I could redeem on my next purchase, which I used as soon as my first box of bars ran out. Have you seen this before?
Yeah, it's Postscript CashBack. It's a new product for them. It's amazing. Postscript is really known for SMS, but this cashback product actually increases email and SMS signups by 31%. It increases contribution margin by 5%. It's going to be huge for Postscript.
That's amazing. If you want to see a demo and see how the product works, visit postscript.io/limited. That's postscript.io/limited. Okay.
Let's move on. Should we do the audit the website or the prepaid credit cards? Let's talk about prepaid credit cards really quickly.
Yeah. Let's do the credit cards.
Let's talk about it for a minute. One of the things that I think about is, do you remember Hubble contacts? Like, no one talks about Hubble contacts anymore, but they existed a really long time ago. And can you tell everyone what Hubble contacts was?
Yeah, basically Hubble was the same way that, Harry's took shaving and made it direct to consumer, or Warby Parker did that for glasses. Hubble did that for contacts, and they were probably the category creator for it at the time. And they raised a ton of money. They built a huge business. And what I think you're going to talk about is what I think is some of their best work, which is basically how they continued to charge cards and, keep their subscriptions alive.
Yeah. That's right. I know the guys somewhat well. They named it after the Hubble telescope. I read that somewhere. They didn't tell me that, which I thought was interesting. And yeah, they sell contacts direct to consumer. And their offer, they were really smart about testing offers. And today, it's pretty common sense to test offers. I think they were back in 2015, 2014, 2016, it wasn't common sense.
Super aggressive.
And so they were like, okay, what works better? They're like, should we offer no discount? Should we offer completely free for your first month? Should we offer $1 for your first month or $3 for your first month? And so it was like free plus $1 shipping and handling, free plus $3 shipping and handling, no offer whatsoever, or free entirely. And it turned out that free plus $3 is what worked out best for them. So basically,
Wow.
your first box will be free, and you charge $3 now. They're like, if we have $3, we have better retention than $1, so we charge $3, or like lower CAC or something, and better retention. So they ended up charging $3. This was like, again, this was 5-7 years ago, and so this wasn't really that clear. But today, there's so many, like, you can get credit cards that change numbers, or prepaid credit cards pretty easily. And so when you make a purchase, you don't like sign up for a subscription because you only have like a one-time use credit card that disappears after you make the purchase. And so like, that got me thinking about all these like welcome offers. You could sign up for a welcome offer, and when they go to charge your card again, the card doesn't work because you've done like a one-time card. And like at Hubble, you could go and say, let me get 2 months of contacts for $3, or like, a month of contacts for $3. You can go to Harry's and be like, let me get my first razor blade and handle for $3. And when you go to charge me again, my card doesn't work. And so I'm surprised this isn't more of a ramp. Have you heard of this problem at all, or it's not really a problem?
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a problem. I mean, I'm sure it happens. I feel like it's never come across to me where, it's like, oh, we have a huge amount of these issues. General fraud or chargebacks is, I think, a different issue. But as far as like prepaid cards, I feel like that hasn't become a huge issue. But I mean, I use them too. Like, issue. I'll use...
you use prepaid cards?
Well, not prepaid cards, but I use this credit card called X1. And in the app, I can just make like they have what's called like a trial card. So it's like basically it'll charge once and then it will never charge again. And there's also like a 24-hour card. So it'll be active for 24 hours and then immediately kill itself. So I'll use that sometimes when I sign up for stuff and I just know I'm trying to take advantage of the intro offer and never want to be, dealing with it again.
Yeah. So let's be clear. And that's exactly the problem I'm describing is X1 and you, which
do you
is
see this?
like,
do you see this a lot though?
I see it a little bit. And I think I see it a little bit, and I'll tell you two things that I see happening. One is I see it getting more rampant as more as soon as American Express says, you know what, we'll also generate a one-time use card. We'll also generate a 24-hour card, a trial card. And two, I see it more amongst millennials than I do the older demographic. So I don't think a 50-year-old woman is going to be like, let me take advantage of this trial offer with a one-time card and let me sign up for an X1. I do. Yeah. I've heard of a 27-year-old guy with a hat that says,
as far as like prepaid cards,
and so
I feel like that.
I do think that it'll be a problem as there are more millennials that become shoppers and they have more and more purchasing power. And this like, the cards proliferate, these types of cards proliferate. And so I'm surprised it hasn't become more of a problem today, but I think it will become more of a problem. I don't know how to solve it. Like on Stripe, you can say like, I don't accept prepaid debit cards, but I don't know if that means you don't accept like one-time use cards.
Well, the tricky part is like, in order to even, I mean, unless like the way credit cards change, in order to even check is like, you would just have to run the card twice basically and put like a second payment hold of $1. Which, maybe that's the way, but that wouldn't limit the issue of like a spend threshold on the card.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or also like you charged it twice, so that also doesn't limit the 24-hour thing because like now it's been more than 24 hours, that card blows up. Like there are still a lot of ways to get around it. I'm happy to see that it hasn't been a big problem. I think it will become a bigger problem. And if anyone's listening and has had that problem a lot, please reach out to me on Twitter. I'm curious to see if there's like this secret problem that we're not aware of.
Have you ever, one idea that just came to mind, I don't know if this would work, but like, let's say let's say you just sign up for Athletic Greens. It's a subscription only product. You sign up as soon as you finish checkout. What if you get a pop-up that says, or actually, no, this wouldn't work for subscription. If it was a one-time purchase, let's say you bought Armra, for example, and a pop-up just came and said, do you want to prepay your next one today if you get half off, when it comes again, and then it becomes a subscription or something like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a worthwhile test that somebody should run. And I think so. I think also like a lot of people, the converse of that should be if someone signs up for a subscription and right after they check out, they probably shouldn't be able to cancel for 24 hours. I wonder, like, I'm not sure if they shouldn't be able to, like, playing devil's advocate. Like, I bet a lot of people are like, let me sign up and cancel all, like,
just to get the 20%
same session.
off.
Yeah, that's right. And so I wonder what would happen if you're like, look, you have to come back tomorrow to cancel. There was like there was a mattress company called Lisa Mattresses, and they would offer you like a 100-day return policy. And if you contacted them within the first 20 days, they're like, look, you have to use it for at least 40 days or 50 days. I forgot what it was before you can initiate.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
And I wonder, the New York Times is like, no, we want to return it right now. And they're like, okay, we'll take it back. Relax.
Yeah. Cause yeah. The
New York Times.
One thing I remember thinking when I ordered a Buffy, and even when I ordered like a mattress, was, they a lot of the companies in the bedding space, they say you have this exorbitant day or night guarantee to return it. The second that thing comes out of the packaging, you're just like, there's no way I can put this thing back in.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how many people want to return it but never will because it looks impossible to do.
Yeah, and like one of the best parts about a deodorant business that's $12 is people are like, I want to return this, but I don't care. Like, it's too cheap to do it. So like, I'm sure with mattresses or like with sofas or like, with big furniture, you're just like, this is too much of a pain in the ass. I'm going to live like this forever now. Especially men. But I feel like men are going to be like, I can't deal with all that work. I've got a bunch. In fact, I've got a bunch of furniture and boxes in my living room that I don't like, but is never going to come out. And it's like way too late to return now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the CRO. So the goal here is to do a CRO of a website. I reached out on Twitter and asked for people to volunteer. So I chose a volunteer. And this, the person who reached out to me is like, we've been doing this since, I don't know, I think they've been selling for some time now. They volunteered. It's opt-in. It's not like we're going to fuck with anyone that doesn't want to be, examined. And the site is called pfcandleco.com. Did I send you that already or not?
No.
Okay. So yes, I wanted to do it together, and it's like, there's just the two of us. And I've taken a quick look at the website, but it was a couple weeks ago, not really anything recently. And so I wanted to do it together so that like we could see what the other person spotted. Are you on the site?
I'm on their Google page, but now I'm on their site.
Okay. And again, this is somebody who volunteered to do this. And so what's the first, like, I'll tell you the first thing that I see. And I'm looking at desktop and not mobile, is the call to action on the hero page is so hard to find. Like, it's all the way on the left. It says explore now. Actually, there's 3 call to actions. I thought explore now was the only one, but sense to warm your winter, shop the archive trio, explore now. That's a lot of call to actions. Usually I'd suggest, oh no, never mind. They're not all call to actions, are they? Wait, what? Okay, only explore now. Yeah.
Explore now is the only
the
call
others
to
are
action.
Not buttons.
If you actually, if you click and drag the second, if you click and drag the banner, the second banner is actually just an empty, like, Shopify image.
Yes.
That says slide title.
Yes. Tell your story.
The CTA here is not clear. I'm going to quickly pull this up on mobile. Even on mobile, it's not very clear. There's also no social proof as soon as you land. Usually above the fold, I like to see some social proof. I think the banner image here, or the hero section, goes down probably 30% more than it needs to. Also at the top, there's a lot of confusion. Like, there's no, generally across this whole site's design, there's no real hierarchy for your eyes to follow. And so the problem is, like, people get overwhelmed and then will probably just leave. But, there should be very clear, like, there's no journey here. It doesn't feel like you're walking into a store and you're being told where to go. You're kind of just looking at like a marketplace of the products they offer. So I think the CTA on the homepage could be much better. I think, even adding a customer quote next to the candle that talks about the scent. The photography here could be better, I guess. Just standing out more. Maybe even adding some ratings here. Like, you got 3 candles here. Maybe tell us about them a little bit more. And Anything else you'd add on like the first hero section?
Yeah. So the photography, I do like this matchbook on here. It looks like very vintagey.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I kind of like, I like where they're going with the photography, although it might not be the best photograph I've ever seen. Yeah, I think the hardest part for me is like the call to action button. And you're right, absolutely. That like, there's a slide on the hero image, and then it goes into
down
a blank spot. And this company's been owned and operated since 2008. I think they've had this website for a decade. So like, you can't have an empty hero image. The other thing I would say is that there's a lot of a lot going on. Like there's a chat with us on the bottom right. There's a referral program on the bottom left. There's a handicap button on the bottom left. There's a scrolling thing at the top, which gets me a little bit confused because I'm like, what am I reading? Wish you were here, and then the like, wish you were here, the archive collection. I'm not sure what that is, So I think you're right. On the hero side of things, there's just a lot going on and probably a little bit overwhelming, even for me. And I'm used to seeing these types of websites, like chat with us, referral, and handicap all at the bottom. That's a lot going on at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree. And I doubt a lot of these things get real engagement because there's so many options of things to click. On the note of product photography, the best way to think of it is your photography should basically look like at any time the photograph was taken, it all should look like it came from the same shoot. And I think also just have, cadence is actually probably my favorite example for product photography. Just brightly lit, clean backgrounds, easy to see the products. But over here, there's a lot of like conflicting photography styles, which also doesn't build that trust perception when somebody's coming to the site.
Yeah, that's fair. And you also don't know like what kind of brand is it? Is it like vintagey? Is it like, moody? Is it like clean? Like what is it when there's different types of photography going on?
Yeah, there's also a cool section, the PF difference, but it's pretty far down. Like you see information about the stores before you see the PF difference, which I think is probably worth bringing up. Maybe even designing in a bigger way so that it's easier to understand.
Yeah.
And then I think the navigation is another big opportunity. There's no real, you're not really being directed to go anywhere to start. And then the last call out I'd have is I doubt a lot of these icons on the top right get clicked, but the cart for sure does. And it's completely empty when you open it. There's no suggested products or upsells or customer reviews or anything encouraging you to go back and buy.
I've never thought about doing like putting stuff in an empty cart to get you to buy stuff. Maybe you should just start popular. If someone hits a cart without anything in there, just put stuff in it.
So just
put your bestseller in it. No, I don't think you can do that, but that is really interesting. Just be like, you don't have anything in the cart. Here's what we recommend. Here's our bestseller. That's a great idea.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, it's your idea, so I'm sure you agree. Okay, let's go to the collections page. I went to new to the PF collection, so it's basically collection / what's new. I like this page. Like, it's a much easier to understand collections page. Although, like, I'm not sure the sort. Are you there? Are you on that page too?
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. Like the sort is really big and takes up a lot of room. I'm not sure if sort needs that much room because it like brings down all of the other images. I sort of like what they're doing with like a clean background and then this hover over effect, which gives you the background of like nature. That's interesting. It helps me understand the brand. I like that they have reviews on the top few items. I wish that instead of just saying new, although this is the new one, I wish they would also say bestseller, like bestseller in this collection or something like that. It's all the way down, I guess, under it says bergamot. I don't know if those are actually the bestsellers. Maybe it's this Enoiki cedar. It says bestseller. If that's the bestseller, I'd probably put it at the very beginning because like that's what people are going to love. The other thing I would probably do here is, I'd possibly put number of reviews to give it more credibility if you have a lot of reviews. If you don't, I'd probably keep it off. Let's see if they've got a lot. Guess they don't, but yeah, 14 reviews. Okay, yeah, I would keep it off then.
Yeah, I would also add that the top here where it says new to the PF collection, the hero doesn't really, like the imagery there doesn't really do anything.
Makes sense.
The product's not even in there. And this is probably an opportunity to showcase. A lot of times, like if your product is being linked to from a blogger or any sort of press, it usually comes to the collections page. And if this is the what's new collections page, you definitely want to use that opportunity to educate,
showcase the brand.
Yeah,
great point.
Exactly.
That's so funny. When we started native, we had a hero image that was just we had no product image, and certainly nothing in like a setting. So it's just a nice bathroom. That's all it
Yeah.
was. It was just a nice bathroom. There was no native whatsoever. And you're right, this guy, and like I felt so ashamed of that. And I was like, I got to work to fix it. You're right. This is a picture of a kitchen and like kitchen knives.
Yep. The other thing is, so it's not super clear here what size is what, because a lot of the images look the same. Like, if you just look at the images, it looks like everything's the same size, but there's a few different sizes here. And so I think instead of this sort button here, you should actually just have preset sorting options, one being size and one being, type of scent. You could probably even have a sort option for best sellers, because there's, like six best sellers here. And one for new, because you have, 7 new products.
Yeah, that is a great point that they have different sizes. I didn't even realize that. They say 7.2 ounce on some and 12.5 ounces on others. So that is a great point. They should definitely do sizing. They should make sizing clearer. I also don't love add to cart button. Like I always feel like add to cart buttons should be unique colors. Like I want them to stand out. And so I never put them as like the color of like the text font. And here they do. I'm not sure I would have them in black like I have the other font.
Yeah, fully agree. They don't really stand out even on the hover, like if you hover over it.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wonder if they've tested is a lot of times if a brand doesn't have a ton of brand awareness, it's actually better to go to the PDP from the collections page versus forcing an add to cart. Your conversion rate tends to be higher. And so that's probably one thing I'd change here.
And so if they did that, what should the call to action be? Instead of add to cart, it should say view details, view product.
Yeah,
what should it
explore
say?
Candle, shop now.
Okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Choose scent, choose size.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'd change on mobile is the spacing is off. So I would just fix the theme so that the products are side by side and the buttons are all the same height. Just because, again, that's like, you don't want to seem like you're not trustworthy with a credit card number.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little true on desktop too, on like a couple of the rows where the add to cart button like moves up and down, like on the third row, at least for me right now, the Italian summer for Lisa says Ga soy candle. The add to cart button isn't on the same like level. And so it does make me feel like what's going on here. Okay. Totally. Let's pull up the PDP really quickly. So I pulled up the Mojave 7.2 ounce soy candle. My biggest issue here right out of the gate is, again, add to cart button is the same color as everything else. It's black. And it's a little bit small. Like the quantity on desktop is bigger than the add to cart button, which I don't love. Like, I would make add to cart button its own color and make it really large. So it's very clear what you want customers to do. I do like that they did this like scent throw. I don't know what scent throw means, but how strong is it? Like I like that they have an idea of like how strong is it, because that's something that like, having been in the deodorant world, everybody wants to know how strong is a fragrance. I wish they did like a little bit of a meter and you just like, kept it at a certain spot and said this is medium.
Yeah. I would say I'm a fan of the product pages. I think they actually have some elements here that are really good. They've got the Fragrance Family Scent Throw and the Grape 4, which I think are 3 great things to have there. Their third image in their lineup of the carousel I really like, because it does a nice job explaining the scent a little bit better. Then right below that, they've got the how to use, ingredients, shipping and returns. That's all good info. And then they also have this descriptor of the collection, which I think is cool. I just think they probably could lay this out a little bit better and explain just relay out the content. It looks like they've got all the right information. And then even up at the top, like where the shop section is, or you choose your scent, for example, you click on the scent selector and that's not a branded experience, which I feel like, you want that to be nicely branded. Your add to cart button should be a lot bigger and probably, different color, like on the collections page. And then some of the text below, it's hard to read. And I think it could be easier to read, and it would probably, it's nice copy. Like you would want people to read that.
Yeah, I agree with that. The font is really difficult to read and I'm on a massive desktop, like with a huge blow up monitor, and I still like have a tough time reading it. So it seems like that's a big miss. And you're like, the other thing is you're right. Like the product info, how to use ingredients and shipping and returns are weird tabs and they're weirdly spaced right there. Like if they're centered, center everything. Also,
Right.
I think you're right. And like, one of the things that I think you would say here is like, you need more social proof than just this review. Like I would say,
Totally.
I'd have a photo of someone smelling it or sitting in the environment or talking about it and saying, hey, this is why I really like using this. I feel like it's missing that element of social proof. I do love that third image of it describing all of the scents. In fact, I wish they would do that. I wish it wasn't the third image. I wish it was like in the PDP, like under the fold, so you could see, okay, what are the scents that I'm actually looking at? And one other thing, and I'm not sure how to do this, is when you look and when you like try and scroll to a different scent, it basically reloads the page. I don't know why. I don't know how to like avoid doing that. There's some option that, like if you go to Amazon and you click a different like scent or something, it doesn't reload the page. Here it does reload the page. I'm not technical enough to understand why that happens, but I think that like it's a much better experience if you could like choose a different option, like go from Mojave to Sunbloom without the page reloading and seeing different colors and stuff. If it just updated the images that it needed to and stayed on the same page, my guess would be that would increase conversion as well.
Yeah, that's actually something that with the new Shopify product update in the winter editions,
you can do
they'd be able to do that. Until now, you have to basically go by scent in this case, and then the variation out of that would probably be size. So in general, they're doing it wrong, but now they can do it right.
Yeah, good. Okay, I added a Sunbloom 7.2 ounce to my cart. And then like, the cart, it's got an upsell, which I really like, which is a wick trimmer. And like the wick trimmer looks pretty cool too. Like, looks interesting. If someone had this next to a candle, I'd be like, what is this? And try and talk about it. The problem is that the chat with us is lying over the checkout button.
Yeah.
And in fact, I can barely see the checkout button. The checkout button is like,
it doesn't look like a button.
It's the same as the background color. It's got an amount in it, which is being hidden by the chat with us button. Like, I don't know where to click after this. Like I've added something to my cart, which is now an incredibly valuable customer, and the checkout button is hidden. I've never seen that before. And that is a huge red flag to me. Like, why would you ever hide? It doesn't even
do anything if you hover over it.
Yeah, but yeah. And it's hard to see it because it's the same as the background. It's just like a black outline, right? Like a frame, a 1 pixel frame. And that seems like a big mistake. If I were doing this, I'd make sure that chat with us button was gone. I'd make the checkout button bigger, again, a different color, so everyone knows what to click. Like every color you want, every step you want someone to take should be a unique color. Add to cart should be the same as checkout, so people know I need to go from here to here, and it's the same color I'm looking for. This seems like a miss. Is this a gift? And then it says, enter your message here. I think that's fine. I still wouldn't hide the checkout button. Like, if you click, is this a gift? And they say, here's the gift message. I still wouldn't hide the checkout button. Like checkout button.
Yeah, same. It should always be there.
Yeah. In fact, if you don't click it in 5 seconds, the page should automatically forward to it.
Right. Also,
I don't actually believe that, but I think that'd be fun.
Also adding some social proof around the checkout button, the lock or the checkout secured. Something that, just again, reinforces confidence.
Yeah. Yes. Do you think that should be done on the cart, huh? I always just do it right around the complete purchase, like on the checkout page itself, not on the cart page. But yeah, it's probably a good idea to put it here.
I think
too.
Both. The other thing that is one of my favorite tricks from the native cart is just putting your discount code in the slide out cart. Don't make people wait till shop pay checkout comes through, because they don't know that sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
And they might bounce if they don't see that.
Yeah. Two things I want to address. One is you're absolutely right. Like when we moved from WooCommerce to Shopify, we didn't have the ability to add a discount code into the cart page. And we saw a huge decrease in our conversion rate as a result of the shift from WooCommerce to Shopify until we built that feature and added it back. And there was one time where in WooCommerce, we accidentally hit it. And instantly, you could put the coupon code on the cart page or the checkout page. And when we accidentally hit it from the cart page, we instantly saw an increase in CACs and a reduction in conversion rate, because people were like, I have a coupon code. I don't know where to put it. I'm on the cart. I'm out. Like it can't just be on checkout. It has to be on cart as well. That is a great point. I didn't even realize that. The other thing is, you're right. Like, if I were going to put social proof around the checkout page, I'd also put like a return policy. Like, they offer free 30-day returns. Like, they should say fast returns, easy returns, fast shipping, checkout secure. Like, they should have those types of badges around checkout to encourage you. And here, instead, they put another button hiding your checkout page.
Agreed.
Okay, well, that's a wrap. That we went over their homepage, their collections page, their product page, and their pop-out cart. That's fun to do, though. Like, I really it's fun hearing what you have to say about those things. I know you do this all the time for like a living, and we sort of talk about it generically, but it's really fun to hear you talk about it specifically, because I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't see that now.
Yeah, maybe what I could do for the next episode, I can come with like 20 easy things that most people could apply to their site. And probably see an increase in conversion.
I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks
Until
for
next
listening.
time. Thanks for joining us for episode 8.
See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise in CPG, retail, and e-commerce.
And if you enjoyed this episode, then why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on.